What's going on, guys? My name is Hydros and welcome back to some more My Hero Ultra Impact, and today we're going to go over the 1-year anniversary and discuss some things, as well as the overall reception to the brand new units that were leaked, as well as teased over on the official Twitter accounts. So before we go ahead and get started with all that, make sure you guys go down there, click that red subscribe button, make sure it says subscribe to the channel, click that bell, turn on all notifications to miss out on any future videos, as well as drop a like down below and comment, are you hyped for the new Deku and Bakugo? And also, what do you expect to see aside from the units from the 1-year anniversary for the JP version? So, with that being said, as I just stated, this is the 1-year anniversary for the JP version, and Global just so happens to be celebrating it at the same time because they are caught up versions. There are no differences in the games whatsoever, but this is tailored specifically to the JP version for its anniversary because JP did release I think it was 8 months prior to the global version, and then the global version came out about 8 months afterwards, and now global is here and they're 100% caught up to each other, and now we are celebrating the JP anniversary together with the global version. And with that being said, with the overall reception to the units, not only on the Twitter accounts but also just in general that I've been seeing, people are either kind of split. They're either hype or they're not hype, and I've seen some people in between. They're kind of hype, but they want to see what's left to see for the anniversary, because you can't really fully judge the 1-year anniversary until you actually see everything that they have in store and everything that we know and is going to happen, right? So there isn't a lot of details right now. We just know specifically that these are the units that are coming. We don't know what they do. We don't know what else is coming other than what was mentioned in the producer letter, which is a few things, but they didn't go into anything specific aside from like the character visuals, but we still don't know what that is either. So we are going to have another producer letter as well on the 25th. So we're going to be going over that in a video as well. Hopefully we get some more insight into what we can expect to come from the 1-year anniversary as well. But the overall reception, as I was mentioning, for the units, it's a love and hate kind of thing. People either love them because it's different outfits. They're not the same hero units. Like these units as well might have different animations than the standard Deku and Bakugo being like a smash and an AP shot or whatever the case may be. These characters may be having animations that are tailored from the actual, the ending for Fantasy AU on season 2. So these units may actually have very different animations to see, and that's going to be cool as well. And hopefully that is the case. We don't know specifically yet, but we will know soon. As well as that they're just different costumes. They're not the standard hero costume that we're used to seeing, as well as they're going to be different models with different outfits as well. Again, something that we're used to seeing the hero outfits constantly over and over and over again. So that adds just a little bit of variety to the game for those players. And I can see where people aren't as hyped because it's just like they're different costumes, or they don't care about Fantasy AU. Fantasy AU is strictly literally just the ending outro to season 2. And that was really much it. They didn't really dive too much more into it, I believe. I think there maybe was a manga, like a short manga novel about it, but I'm not actually 100% sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But in terms of that, people are they're hype or not hype. And the people that aren't hype are just, it's Deku Bakugo. They don't really care for Deku Bakugo again and again and again. And I understand that. I really, really do. A lot of people were also expecting, in my opinion, out of range hype stuff that probably wouldn't be done for anniversary, such as 100% Deku and 100% Bakugo from movie 2, which I would never expect. I don't think anyone should ever expect movie units to ever come for an anniversary. There may be the off chance that that may happen one day, but I would never expect that to happen because they've already done the third movie units without being on anniversary. They could have definitely saved not the year 3, but the movie 3 units for the first year. They could have very well have done that, but they didn't. But in terms of movie units, I would probably not expect movie units to be their own celebration in the anniversary. I would expect them to be their own celebration later down the road sometime, just to fill a gap or something. That's probably where I would expect those units to be showcased out more than anniversary. Now, I know a lot of people are expecting a lot more hype moments from the anime specifically as well, such as like 100% Deku with Eri, or something like maybe 1,000,000% Smash Deku versus Muscular or something. And I agree, those moments are definitely hyping the anime, and the anime does have very hype moments as well. I mean, even Black Whip Deku would have been great to see as well, but I can see why they're not pushing it right away, because as hype as they may be, because this anniversary is labeled the JP version, I think this anniversary and the units are tailored to what the JP players overall are wanting more than what the global players are wanting. Because at the end of the day, they are still kind of treating the versions a little bit separately. Even though they're caught up, they're still treating it separately a little bit. And that's kind of the case because JP did come out a lot before Global, and they did just release Global 100% caught up to JP. So with that, they're celebrating the JP's first year anniversary because it came out first. But I also think that's the case that they're also celebrating it in terms of this is JP's celebration. What do the JP players want? So with that, it's not confirmed, but it is speculated that Global will also receive their first year anniversary later. So JP will also celebrate Global's first year anniversary as well. And with that, if they are doing it to where this JP anniversary is tailored towards JP players, then the Global anniversary will most likely have units that are tailored towards the Global players, such as maybe 100% Deku, Black Whip Deku, 1,000,000% Deku, whatever the case may be, right? So Global's anniversary may be having those hype moments from the anime that you guys are expecting to see and maybe aren't so hyped for this. In terms of Global, this essentially is, if they are doing it that way, I'm not 100% sure if they are, but if they are doing it that way, then this celebration is literally just a celebration for Global. This isn't Global's anniversary whatsoever. They're just happened to get all the stuff that JP's getting, and this is JP's celebration to be celebrating and hype about and all that sort of stuff. So with that, that's kind of my opinion right there, is that these units and this celebration is more or less tailored towards the JP version and the JP players in terms of the units. Now, overall, like the quality of life updates that they maybe are doing and stuff like that during this anniversary, we don't know specifically, but a lot of the, the quality of life game updates that they are going to be dropping, Global's getting that as well. So they're not going to be like, oh, JP's only getting this, JP's only getting that. Global and JP are going to be getting it at the same time. But again, just the units and stuff like that are mainly tailored towards the JP audience, I think, more or less. So here we have the Twitter account. Let's kind of just do this as well as kind of look at it from this perspective. This is the Bakugo teaser that was coming out. I regret every gem I spent. So this guy seems kind of hype about it. Maybe ready to get shafted. There has to be a part 2. They're hiding actual hype. And then again, there's the Bakugo art there. There's Bakugo and Deku here. Then here we have, I'm saving up. There we go. See, I see some people are hype and some people are not interesting skins. See, some people aren't hyped so much. Bakugo, people like Bakugo more or less, I think, than Deku. I think overall Bakugo is a little bit more profoundly liked than Deku is. But it is the case. This is what y'all kind of anniversary. These units aren't hype at all. See, a lot of people aren't hyped for the units, and this is just literally the global community more or less that are saying this. Now, if we go over to the JP versions stuff here, and we go over to the media and we check out this one, and this is the JP versions teaser of the Bakugo as well. If we kind of translate, again, this is roughly translated from this as well. If we translate some of these tweets, he could say, "I'm glad I did my best to save gems. I only got 1 yarn. Definitely get this. Thank you from management." So that guy seems a bit hyped for the Bakugo there. And then if we keep, kind of scrolling down and we translate this one, if I can type it, it's a completely different world costume. So I guess they're excited. I can't really tell. Again, Google Translate is a Google Translate, by the way. So let's see, what's this guy saying here? This one says, "Are you coming with?" I think that's Todoroki. Again, we could see another Todoroki. There very well could be a part 1, part 2. We don't know. This is just specifically the first units that are coming out. I'm confident I can hit them. He meant get them, but that guy seems a bit hyped for that. Then you have this one right here where they're talking about the Adventure Awakens type of stuff there from that, or Adventure Awaits. This guy here, that's it. I'm waiting for you to save gems. That guy seems pretty hyped to save for the Bakugo there. And then this one here, let's see here. I love you, please. I guess that guy's hyped too, or he or she is hyped. This one seems hyped right here. All the hearts. I see a lot of hearts in some of these posts, and I think mainly most of that is because it's Bakugo at the same time. Looking forward to it, this one says. So let's see here. Look at that arm. Again, you just see a lot of hearts. The biceps, I'm ready. Oh my god. All right. I mean, again, a lot of this just seems very much in terms of hype for Bakugo. Let's kind of just like peek on over to Deku real quick, because Deku's was tweeted as well. I think Deku's was a little bit different. I think a lot of people thought that was Hagakure a little bit because of the gloves. So I think that was a little bit, but I think a lot of people did kind of see that was where it's coming from. Please, this one wants to, see someone that hasn't been put out yet. And then some other people seem like they're hype. Let's kind of check this one out right here. Is this not 100% full Deku? I can't talk. Let's see here. What's this one saying? Again, I think a lot of the hype is for Bakugo, but Deku, yeah, so that person wasn't too hyped, at least for the Deku. Again, I think a lot of people are more or less excited for the Bakugo, because Bakugo just, I think his outfit just looks overall cooler than Deku's. Deku's kind of meh, right? But let's see here. This one, if possible, like the origin groups to appear. I think a lot of people are hyped. Just maybe some people are hyped for Deku. It seems some people are hyped for Deku. Not actually 100% too sure. Because my hero cosplay deck, do you have something sword? Okay, I don't know if what that means, but sure. What's this guy saying here? It's been another year, right? I think this time at like the questionnaire that they've been doing, the repertoire of existing characters. I think a lot of people also just, I think overall, I don't think this is just a global global versus JP thing. I think a lot of people are mainly wanting just different characters overall instead of just the same, you know, Deku, Bakugo, Momo, Todoroki, blah, 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 blah. You know, I think a lot of people just want to see other units like Sero and stuff like that come, which I imagine are coming, but this is the anniversary. Keep that in mind as well. This is anniversary for JP. They're gonna do units that are hype as well as units that make them money in terms of the characters. Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, those main three are their money makers, and that is more or less probably what we're gonna see for the anniversary. We're probably gonna see a Todoroki, and we're obviously seeing Deku and Bakugo, so they are obviously doing their money makers right out the gate. But again, a lot of the global community is more or less not impressed with that, but it seems there's a lot more hype around the Bakugo than the Deku. Probably if there's a Todoroki, we'll probably see the same thing as well, that there is quite a bit more hype around Todoroki and Bakugo than Deku, because Deku's is kind of meh, right? So if we just go here and we go over to Sensor Tower as well, I kind of want to show you guys a little bit as well of the breakdown for My Hero, because a lot of people are saying, oh, this game needs 1 year anniversary to do well, otherwise the game's going to die. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I'm just comparing iOS specifically as well as the US versus JP. So this is just iOS and JP for right now for this. But if we scroll down, you can see that overall 50K downloads for the global version on iOS in the US, and then a 200K revenue for the US as well, versus JP's being 100K and 10K downloads. This is in the month of April 2022, by the way. So as you can see, not a lot, but definitely not awful. But if we scroll down to kind of like the ranking history, if we go ahead and go to top free games, iOS adventure, you can see they're in the top 300 at minimal, and then we jumped all the way up to like top 126. So again, they're in the top 300, which I don't think is very bad. If we scroll here, they're in top 222 and stuff like that here, and that's consistent throughout as well, at least for iOS, is that they're in the top over like above 300, and I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. If they're like getting down below 500, 600, 700, that's not so great. But you can see that they peak as well. They do drop a little bit, but then they peak back up. As long as they're in the top 300, I think the game is doing at least decent enough to where I don't think the game is going to shut down. I think a lot of the over-exaggeration that the game is going to do bad and die is very much, as I mentioned, over-exaggerated in most areas. Because this revenue it's not a lot, but it's not terrible for 1 month. But I do believe it could be better. They could do a lot better. And again, since the JP version release, they are doing a lot of quality of life updates. So there is that. But again, the ranking being that high is definitely an indication that the game is not doing too awful. As you can see here, they spiked back up to 176 here for the role playing. And then if we go to top grossing for adventure as well, so if we go to top grossing apps of all categories, you can see here that yes, they are on the downward, but every time a new unit comes out, they do spike back up, but they are in the top at least 150 here for the top grossing games. And then also here for the JP version, they're at least in the top 200 as well, considering top grossing in all categories. This is just games and adventure for global. Specifically in the US, we go to role playing and we go here to adventure. As you can see here as well, they're in literally the top 100, and then they're also in the top at least, well, they're in the top like 300 here now currently as well. So again, they're hovering in the top 300, 200, 100 roughly, just it spikes up and down and stuff like that. And that's definitely not a bad situation for them. Obviously they can do and need to do a lot better to get up in there, but I don't think it's fair to compare them to something like Dokkan and Legends, especially because the Dragon Ball IP, it's good to compare the game like core mechanics, but if you're talking about like top grossing, Dokkan and Legends definitely make more because Dragon Ball is it's more popular. Dragon Ball is way more popular than My Hero is ever going to be probably, and that's just stated by how much they make. It just comes down to popular IP, right? So for My Hero's popularity, especially from JP to US or global. I feel like this game is doing decent. It's not failing yet. It's not on a downtrend to the point to where they're on a constant heavy downslope. They do dip down, but they come back up. They're on kind of like a wave situation, and they, you know, again, they do fluctuate. But we'll see as the game progresses, again, with quality of life updates, improving the game, especially. I think the units do matter. Units 100% matter to an extent, but what also matters is the core game mechanics and how people play the game. And if they are overall adjusting and making it better for the overall player to enjoy playing it, then that comes more or less better than the units themselves. Obviously, the units make them money, but to keep people playing, not just summoning and spending money, but to keep people playing, they need an overall better game, and they are somewhat doing that as the time goes on. They've been improving the game ever so, like, here and there, throwing different updates out, and that's what's important in my opinion as well. But again, that's just iOS to JP on the US side. It could be very different for different countries. Just, you know, let you guys know that. I'm just comparing these two specifically real quick and seeing what that looks like. But in terms of that, I think the game is doing fine in terms of its in terms of grossing, as well as in terms of downloads and whatnot, and revenue-ish. Revenue could be a slightly bit better, but it's not doing to the point to where it's probably going to get shut down. Now, if they were making like 20K, yeah. I think if they're over 100K, I think they're more or less okay for the most part. This is just April. And again, we'll have numbers for the anniversary once May data comes out. So once May data comes out, we'll see kind of what they did, how good they did then as well, and see how the difference is between the fluctuating months. But there is that. But with that, I think, again, that a lot of people are just overall hyped for the JP version in the JP side, because JP players, I don't know how true this is specifically, but I don't know how hype JP players are for Bakugo and Deku, because I don't know what the overall reception is for Fantasy AU. From what I can tell from the tweets, people seem to be hype, and that's just a small sample size. But from overall from the JP players, they seem content, at least for having these units, because it's something different and it's Fantasy AU. It feels like Fantasy AU is more or less accepted from the JP player base versus the global player base. But again, this is what I keep saying, is that this is a JP version anniversary, and I think that these anniversaries are tailored towards the versions and their players. So what may be hype for the JP players may not be hype for us. So it's just another regular banner for the global players. But when global's anniversary comes around, JP players might not be hyped for it, but global players may be hyped for it. So it's kind of give and take. We're gonna have to see once we see if we do have a global anniversary, as well as the game as it goes on, and once we do know more info about the anniversary, because that's another thing. Remember, we don't have all the details at all for the anniversary. We don't know what's coming. We don't know how much stuff is being, you know, implemented. We don't know what updates are going to be coming in terms of gameplay experience. We don't know any of that yet. And that's another thing to consider when judging the anniversary overall. The units look fine. The units are cool. The units are great. And that does come into factor when judging the anniversary. But also what comes into the factor is that what is the anniversary bringing in terms of content, updates, quality of life, all that stuff. And I think that matters as well. And we're going to see what that does as the game goes on and once the anniversary does start. So with that, I don't want to ramble on too much longer. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, drop a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys. Have a fantastic day.